Hello and welcome to the Troyiverse. It is Saturday, April 25th, 12:27. The temperature today is a crisp 53 degrees. It's actually not raining at the moment, but it will start around 3 o'clock again. So I'm trying to get this podcast done, as well as various other things I usually do around the time I do my podcast, which is my shopping and getting comic books and Chinese food. Like, I don't know, I might get Chinese food today or I might get a stromboli. I'm not sure. I'm still weighing out the options, but regardless, hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a good week. Hope everyone's enjoying the podcast up to this point and continuously. So I gotta say, like, last week's podcast, the reason why I went in so hard with everything I was going in on, because I'm just passionate about the fact that there are so many lonely people or people that feel ostracized or just isolated in their own day-to-day life, and people are literally legitimately offing themselves or being killed or just dying on like a moment-to-moment basis, and without knowing or feeling appreciated, cared for, loved, what have you. I take that personally because I myself have previously mentioned, I died. Like, I died, I was on the other side, I came back, I'm here again, Christ journey, all that stuff. But, like, if I didn't come back, that would have been my story. I would have been someone who went through life with only experiencing true love like once, and that true love wasn't like a romantic thing or a friend thing. It was a parent thing. It was being a father and having my daughter and loving my daughter unconditionally and having my daughter love me unconditionally and stuff like that, and understanding how that feels and all that pertains. It sucks to know that there are people out there that are literally deleting themselves because of the fact that they don't even know what that type of like paternal to child love like feels like, or all the other ones, the friendship type love, the best friendship type love, or the romantic like type love, so it this is the whole reason why I created this podcast in the first place, because I mean, regardless of my healing journey and what I've been through, what I experienced, what I survived, that's neither here nor there. When it comes down to it, like, people are suffering, and the reason why I went so hard last week about like the debates of who's wrong in whatever scenarios or yada yada yada, or all the transgressions of colonizers and yada yada yada. It's, how can I say this? It's a moot point for me. I've said this before with friends. I might have said it on a podcast before, but like, anytime I hear an argument or any type of debate regarding two unique individuals communicating about their own personal experience and trying to push their narrative or their experience on somebody else and saying this is the only way you can experience something, it sounds like people are arguing about oat milk and almond milk. Like, you drink what you want to drink, and somebody else to drink what they want to drink, and it doesn't matter if you agree with their choice of beverage or not. Like, that's their life experiences. However, the thing what it comes down to is we have to all understand that we are all unique individuals that are here to experience our own life experiences and journeys, and it's nobody's, how can I say this, agenda to try to step on or step over another person because they just don't agree with what that person's journey is. Now, when I say that, I still take into account all the stuff of, vicious people, horrible individuals, like demons in human clothing type stuff, like the Hitlers, the shitbox, the people in Israel, or it's not real, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever everybody want to call it. Like, if you want to go and defend or support people who are actively trying to destroy and harm other people's lives, then you are also in that category, and I just could care less about you. You are less than nothing to me. And that's not a point of me saying that your life doesn't matter. I'm just saying that your life doesn't matter to me, because I'm not pitting the time to think about what I can or can't do to change your mind about your journey. That's your journey. It's not mine. Just like people that I know who have done horrendous things to me, or ridiculous aspects of trying to fabricate lies or stories or what have you about me, who have no clue or idea who I am or what I am or what I experienced, to satisfy their own vindictive narrative, I guess. I don't know. But I don't put time to think about them. I put time in to think about stuff that I enjoy, things I want to achieve in this life, things I want to experience. That's why a lot of times, almost all the time, I'm always talking about, my GPA, how proud I am about my GPA, how proud I am about my books that I wrote and self-published, and I am still writing. My ability to take every experience, positive, negative, or indifferent, and to look at them now after death as a learning experience or a level up experience, if you want to use game theory. So when it comes down to it, it really is a point of taking the things that I've witnessed in my own life and categorizing them to say, I'll take everything that I experience and learn from it so I can be the best version of myself for my own journey. And for me, my journey has always been about helping people and being of service for those who need it and who ask for it, and also to be kind of like a voice of my own reason, to saying like, this is what I've seen, this is what I've been through, this is what I've dealt with, and this is my unique way of handling in it or moving forward in that process with it. And just because my way works for me, it could possibly work for other people, but it's not a necessary thing of saying, I did this, so you have to do it too. Take what you will and leave out the rest. So, when it comes down to it, I constantly try to I try to fix things. I try to take things from a narrative of the information that I accumulated throughout my time and listening to new perspectives so I can add their perspectives to the knowledge that I already obtained and see if their new perspective will galvanize me to alter my perception of what my reasoning has deduced to figure out a best solution for this problem, or if it doesn't. So that's why when it comes down to it, I use different narratives, or I think about things outside of a vacuum, because it does come to a point of we right now are living history, if you will. Like a lot of scientists agree with me on this, that they are starting to understand that time is not what we think. Time is not just a linear start to finish scenario that we as humanity was once given as a fact. Now there are researchers that are going into play dealing with time travel, time manipulation. I mean, this was stuff that was already thought about and talked about back when Nikola Tesla was still alive, and that was just, scrubbed or buried by not just our government but other countries' governments as well. Here, if you are aware of what's going on recently, like there have been like 13 scientists that have been like allegedly offed or went missing or just gone. And it's odd if you truly want to not think it's not related, but how many people in this day and age do you know leave their house without their cell phone? Like, people will leave their house keys in the house before they leave their cell phone in the house. But regardless, do your own research, like I always say. Do your own research about everything. Don't just listen to what a talking head is saying on a podcast or on a TikTok or any other social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Like, if you hear something that you think is interesting and that at least rouse you up enough to make you feel some type of emotion, then do your due diligence and do the research. See if the thing that you've heard is accurate. See if there's more details or more updates that might come about the thing that has just been put across your For You page or what have you. Like, the fact of the matter is, there's so many individuals out here that are sheeple, that literally choose to get false outrage, if you will, because the fact that they heard something that somebody heard from somebody else that wasn't even true in the first place. And it takes away from the narrative of what is the most important part of people should, and they have the capacity to be kind to themselves and one another, but the society that we live in, the culture that we live in, literally from the top down, is corrupt. And you literally find so many people being murdered, killed, whatever, disappearing just for trying to change that narrative, trying to be better, be kinder, be more understanding. And somehow people take those individuals that are trying to be better and put them on a pedestal and treat them as if they're some mythological creature that should be revered, when it's like, if anything, they're just trying to show everyone the same thing that I'm saying, which is that's their journey to be better, but we all can make choices to allow ourselves to walk in a foot space of being better ourselves. So when it comes down to wanting to understand ourselves and understand the world we live in, the best possible thing is to, one, understand that no one's perfect. Like, we all are just trying our best here to just make it day by day in this topsy-turvy, crazy world. But at the same time, take accountability on understanding, like, yeah, you're not perfect. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. But you can bounce back from that. Like if you're remorseful, if you take accountability and you understand, like, yeah, like, shit happens sometimes, but I can be better. And that's really where it comes down to it for me, and what I look for the individuals that I want to be around and I want to call my soul tribe. And that's the thing about it, like, there's so many good people out there, and they're being smothered by the same smog of deception and deceit and just evil that is permeating this world. But we can do something about it. We can change that. Like, I seen a video, actually, it was actually quite interesting. I'm not sure what the basis, the topic of the discussion was, but there was a gentleman or a male that was in a city hall meeting, and apparently he was like, I'm not sure, I can only give you what he said or what you call it, but he was basically like, he was told he was going to be arrested for using foul language in the city hall meeting, which is redundant because of, freedom of speech. Like, as a adult American individual, like, I have freedom of speech to say something. Now, regardless of my freedom of speech to say something, I still have to hold myself accountable to what I say, and understand that everyone's not going to agree or like it or, feel pleasant about what I'm saying. And that's fair. Totally understand. You can feel how you want to feel about anything that goes on in your life that you don't agree with or you do agree with. However, to try to censor or try to tell somebody that they can't say something and take their rights away of saying this is what you can and can't say is ridiculous. And it's so funny because this is now becoming the case point for so many people, where it comes down to, like I said before, you can't say certain things regarding certain things. Like, people are saying it's not real because of the fact that they are afraid to say Israel because they don't want to be arrested or taken into custody, because of the fact that they have an opinion about a truthful action about the fact that the government of Israel is bombing and committing genocide and causing catastrophes and wars and murders, all, like, in multiple different places. It's even worse. It was sad because it was apparently, I'm going back and forth of, like, checking out, doing research about it or not, but, like, some young woman apparently made a joke on her WhatsApp, which was funny because WhatsApp is supposed to be, one of those non-traceable apps that you can use and blah, blah, blah. But she made a joke about the prime minister it's not real, and apparently she was arrested. and she's going to face charges. And I find it like really like fucked up because I mean she's an American citizen, she should have freedom of speech, but because our government is, you know, playing footsies with it's not real, then now apparently America is subjugated to the rules of it's not real apparently, which is ridiculous. Um, and not to say that like because here's the thing. I've been looking at that periodically, and I've also been looking at the other case about the DoorDash girl, which that's been in my head for a minute. Which I'm honestly, whatever you think and your opinion is about that, that's fine. My opinion is she was completely in the wrong. I don't care. I don't care. She was completely wrong. The fact of the matter is, regardless of anything, the dude was knocked out on his couch in the privacy of his own home. She came in without being invited. I'm going to use vampire rules. She wasn't invited to his house. She was supposed to leave the food at the door, you know, take a picture, send a picture to him, let him know the food was delivered, and keep it pushing. She had no right to barge into his house. First off, open his door, go into his house and record him, and then to post the recordings on the internet for everybody to see. It was grossly inappropriate and unprofessional, and it's wild that I'm saying the word inappropriate, but it was completely inappropriate. Like that was like ridiculous. So I hope for some, and like honestly I hope for many like people that they understand, like just stop trying to be famous off of trying to ruin in other people's lives. Like it's not healthy. It is not going to work. And as much as she's been crying wolf this whole time and saying she was a victim and she was SA'd because she walked into a home of a stranger that was privately in on their own couch, comfortably relaxed, knocked the fuck out, waiting for their food to go, you know, with their pants down in their own house. You can't claim that you was sexually assaulted because of the fact that you took it upon yourself to walk into their house. Nah, like, because my thing is, I'm in my house and I'm in a comfortable birthday suit mostly all the time during the summer, or if the heat is like high or like that, you know, in the privacy of my own rooms. So yeah, like if somebody were to barge into my room while I'm sitting there just relaxing, watching YouTube or playing a video game or like that, and I'm in my birthday suit, you can't go and be like, how dare you essay me because I barged into your room. Like, that don't make sense. But regardless, I don't want to go on a tangent with that because that wasn't the point. The fact of the matter is, because of that ideology, because of this, people are trying to impart their idea or ideology of what life is supposed to be by their rules is just low level manipulation and seeking control. And that's the problem. Like, nobody has the right to control anybody else's life, but for some reason that seems to be the only way people feel as though they can gain power, which is sad because half the time it just goes into clinical studies of saying that most people that do that are insecure and they lack control over their own life and the things that are happening in their life, so they try to micromanage and control everyone else's life to a certain extent, which is narcissistic, selfish, and, you know, horrible. Just regardless of using any clinical terms and stuff like that, it's just a horrible thing to do. Like, understand that once again, we're all individuals. We weren't raised by the same parents, and every household does not have the same type of values and morals that everyone else's households have. Like I mean, for the case in point, look at Christians and how they deal with stuff. Like, you got a majority of Christians who support shitbox in the Oval Office, and they have just not even all of them, but a lot of them are just starting to be like, yeah, maybe shitbox is a horrible person, but that's only because of the fact that shitbox made posted a picture of himself like, you know, Jesus of Nazareth healing somebody. It did look like Jon Stewart. I'm sorry, I was laughing because I was thinking about the Daily Show and Jon Stewart, and he was like, "Wait, is that me?" It was so funny, but yeah, like, but the thing is that even though there are some that are now realizing that, you know, shitbox has dementia and he's like a fucked up human being, like, it's still a lot of his cult members that are still like, nope, I'll still continue to ride for him, and anything that I don't agree with, I'm just going to say it's fake news. And that's my point. Like, when it comes down to many different Christianity doctrines, most of the books say the same thing. It still says, you know, thou shalt not sin, thou shalt not, you know, covet thy neighbor's wife, but, you know, all the commandments and yada yada yada. But at the same time, all these people still believe that they somehow are going to go to heaven, even though the Bible literally, it's so funny too, because a lot of them don't even read the Bible. So I've been listening to so many different, like, white on white arguments still, and it's been so funny when they talk about the church and biblical stuff, and they was like, well, you know, show me in the Bible where it said that. It was like, well, I don't know where it's at. Like, well, how do you know it's in the Bible? Because I heard somebody say it before, and it's like, come on, dude. But the fact of the matter is, just because you were raised in a certain type of condition doesn't mean that somebody else was, and just because they weren't, they don't mean that they're worse than you or better than you. It just means that they was raised differently. And the thing is, we should, I'm not going to say you have to, but we should just respect each other. Now, we can choose not to respect each other, and we can choose to make sure that the things that we don't respect should be valid. Like, you know, don't mess with kids. Like, don't mess with kids. I don't understand how that's such a hard fucking, like, model or idea or lifestyle to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, just let kids be kids. The world is already hard enough that you don't need to ruin kids. Like, but some reason, like, people like shitboxing his fucking cronies, like, they just evil, man. So yeah, I'll never respect shitboxing his cronies or the cult members, but, like, at the same time, I don't need to think about them. Like, after he, you know, transitions, which the guy on Instagram, the doctor on Instagram, is so funny because he was like, I was wrong. It was so funny because even after he posted it on his channel, was it yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday? No, it was yesterday, because he was saying Wednesday was supposed to be the day it happened, where he, like, Trump was supposed to aspirate or like a cheeseburger and yada yada yada. But he was like, I was wrong. And he's like, I was right about everything else. I was just wrong about the date of the time or whatever like that. He was like, I still believe that he will aspirate on, on eating some type of food and, yada, yada. Because all the signs of everything he's doing, the sundowning and, which is him falling asleep, during press conferences and, yada, yada, the bruises around his hand, which they are now using makeup on, so his hand does look as bruised as it is. His inability to truly hold a pen correctly, and hence why his signature looks so off. His mental faculties of not being able to actually spell a name right. Just everything. Just his chronic delusions of just. It was, okay, I'm not going to say the things he said because he says so much stuff that's so off the wall that it's just, it is what it is. But, yeah, I can never respect that, and I can't respect the people who do respect him. So I don't think about them. However, it is funny to keep abreast about what they're doing because they've been crying over the fact that what is it? Well, Virginia now has what is it called? Not jury rig. Basically, it's more seats on the Democratic side now than it is in the Republican. And they're just like, we gotta go to the Supreme Court to overturn this. And it was like, well, the Democrats been trying to overturn this for fucking decades, but y'all Republicans, you say no. So now that they're using your tactics against you, now y'all got a problem with it. It is so funny. But regardless, all I'm trying to say is there are true blue people out there that are actually just alone and sad and isolated and looking for friendship and companionship and stuff like that. And I wish and I hope and I look forward to, hopefully in the future, where it comes to a point where people are actually looking for true connections with each other instead of seeking attention from each other. Because that's all I see it as. I just see it as everybody literally jumping in front of their cameras or jumping on top of mic and looking for attention instead of what, personally for me, what I used to want was a connection. Not to say that I don't want any more. I still want a connection. I am still building connections with my soul tribe and stuff like that. But that's no longer a focal point for me. When I came back, my focal point was basically to do the assignment that I was brought back to do, as well as my own personal thing of, making sure my daughter is okay. That's my personal thing, but my worldly assignment is to help those who are finding or seeking help or connection to have some type of beacon or sounding board or some place they can congregate and communicate with each other with. And if my podcast brings people to each other and, to either give me accolades or talk shit about me, at least they found a common ground where they can actually feel connected with somebody with. Because personally, regardless of age, creed, or whatever, I welcome you to my Troyiverse. And as long as y'all don't disrespect me, I don't disrespect y'all, but I will make sure I disrespect Shitbox and all his dumbass cult members. Give a fuck about them. But the world can be better. but we have to take accountability on the fact, understanding we also take responsibility in the fact of either putting our heads in the sand and being like, well, that has nothing to do with me. Oh, well, like, it is what it is. Or we can actually do stuff. Like, I'm not saying I know how to do everything or I know all the wisdom of everything. I know about my life and the different possibilities of my life. I know different scenarios of different, parallel timelines and stuff like that, which I get into with people that I'm closer with. But when it comes down to it, like, I don't know everything. I haven't experienced everything because of the fact that I haven't met everyone yet. And regardless if it's me meeting everyone on this timeline or me meeting everyone, throughout time and space when we all reconnect to the source, like, it is what it is. But I can at least do my part to do better. Like, and me doing better means me learning as much as possible. Like, the whole thing with the taxes. Like, I'm not sure about y'all, but I filed tax exempt this year because I'm not trying to give my money to a government that is, like, purposely disregarding the health of its citizens or purposely covering up 13 scientists going missing or being allegedly murdered. I'm not giving the government money that are purposely covering up the Epstein file. Like, regardless of, I'm not going to support a government that are literally sitting back while this dementia patient shit boxes in the Oval Office literally created a goddamn illegal war and no one's saying shit about it. No one's like a few representatives are being like, this is wrong, yada yada. But, like, this needs to be talked about on a major scale, and it's not. I mean, even to the point where, like, Iran is literally like, we're not going to start doing peace talks until America, like, release the Epstein file. Like, which is wild. When you, the fact that they're literally holding the straight up homos to a standstill, a closure, to being like, nah, y'all not gonna get no oil until y'all do right by everybody. And they don't even have any type of, like, what can I say, reasoning besides keeping themselves alive, but, like, reasoning to, like, go to the American people and being like, hey guys, we'll help expose the corruption in your own government while also, two birds, one stone in it. But, like, it's wild. It really is wild. Because it's like, a lot of people don't even realize what's happening in the world. Like, what's going on a day-to-day basis, because this government has continued to perpetuate a whole crisis narrative where people can't eat. People couldn't obtain fresh water. Like, the Flint thing is still technically going on, even though they're making somewhat progress. Like, but when Flint was big, Flint was huge. But now that Flint's not being talked about, people are, like, not even really doing research on it no more. Nobody's talking about it no more. Everybody's just kind of like, alright, what's on to the next thing? And it's fucked up. Because people are suffering. People are, like, kids are suffering, adults are suffering, elderly are suffering. And because everyone is going through their own personal, like, shit show, like, it's no time for anybody to actually like think about anybody else. But you never know what little you can do. Like just smiling at a person or being kind. And if you see, for instance, I was at Acme and one of the customer in front of me, her garlic, she had a clove of garlic, not clove, like, a bulb of garlic that she was, making with her steak and stuff like that. She brought it with her steak, but it was rolling on the conveyor belt, and she almost forgot it because the attendant didn't see it. And I literally was like, "Oh, excuse me, your garlic," and who knows, if I didn't say nothing, they could have came back or, went to the store, went to the closest store, yada, 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 got another clove. But the fact of just being kind enough to be like, hey, that, don't forget that type shit, everyone was able to, like, have a breath of, like, relief in a way. Like, it was an interaction that didn't end with the cops coming shooting somebody or somebody calling somebody out their name. It was just a kind act of just saying, hey, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I also want you to know that, I don't want you to miss out on the thing that you was looking for. And that's what it comes down to. Like, you don't gotta do the biggest of gestures to, like, for people. You can just do small stuff, but just as long as it's kind. Like, I feel like that can help change the world for the better. And I mean, that's all it really comes down to, trying to make sure that we can help each other move forward and progress to the best ability that we can. Because regardless of anything, as much as I'm always like, and I'm still continue to be like, I can't wait to go into the woods and live alone and live away from civilization, I'm still going to be making money and I'm still going to travel. Like, I'm not going, like, when I'm going in the woods, I'm going in the woods for a good, like, 2 to 3 months type shit. But I'm still gonna need to, like, go to the store to buy certain things. Like, I have my seeds, like, I have my vegetable seeds and my fruit seeds and stuff like that I'm gonna be planting, my garden and stuff like that. But I'm still gonna need other things. I'm still gonna need, like, deodorant, and I'm still gonna need, like, certain other things that I'm gonna, toiletries and other type of, like, sustenance that I'm gonna need. So I'm gonna have to still interact with civilization. I'm just gonna make sure that when I go into the woods, I'm gonna be able to sustain myself for a good week or two without having to talk to anybody. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking to people anyway. It'd be like a week to, like, 3 weeks where I just don't talk to another human being outside of going to the comic book store or going saying hello to the random person when I'm out in the street going grocery shopping or something like that. But, like, which is fine for me. Trust me, it's totally fine for me. I miss the days where I was younger and I can, like, have a whole week off of, like, school or whatever and just play video games and only come out my room to go to the bathroom or get something to eat real fast. And half the time, it would just be like a peanut butter jelly sandwich or something like that to tide me over. And then, a glass of milk when I wasn't as lactose intolerant I am now. But, yeah, it's just, that is comfortable for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love to find my person that I can be alone with. But at the same time, it comes down to it. Realistically, I just enjoy being by myself. Like, it's fun. Like, it's convenient to the extent of being like, I can just enjoy the silence of what's happening. And I think that's why I enjoy the TikTok lives that I participate in, or the YouTube channels that I enjoy watching and I comment on, because I get to be an extrovert in that regard in a comfortable, safe space. Like I literally, like it's funny too because it's the reverse of the internet troll type thing. Like I am literally someone who gets on the channel and I will like support them and just hopefully I give them the support that they're looking for and a smile on their face, but at least I know for a fact that I've given them the support that they choose to engage with because they're creating this channel so they can be supported. So that's the same way, and I know how that feels because that's the same way I did when I was writing my books. I wrote my books because I wanted a better life or a livelihood for myself and my daughter and our family at the time. And instead of me doing the air quotes normal thing of doing a 9 to 5, breaking my back, trying to, figure out all the bills and stuff like that, I was using my creative skills of storytelling and writing to create something new, a new narrative, a new Star Wars, a new, Dune, a new, just any type of never-ending story type narrative type thing that will allow people to imagine worlds that or concepts or people that they probably never thought of before, different scenarios they never thought of before. And that was always just my reasoning for it. And it was very painful and, to be honest with you, very disheartening when it came down to a point of I know people who support drug dealers. Like I know people that like support like people who like purposely do nefarious shit. And I'm like, that's so wild that the old narrative, which is still present and current to this day, has been the thing of like, if you want to keep knowledge away from somebody, put it in a book because people don't read. And it was just so sad because I would always, first off, I took offense to that because I was like, that's fucked up. Like, because mainly, most times, if you heard that phrase or heard that, it was always usually directed towards POC, black people, like that. And I took offense to it because I love reading. I am an avid fan of reading. Like, I still read to this day. I'm literally reading, was it R.A. Salvatore's, what's it called? Maestro. There you go. I'm sorry, I'm between R.A. Salvatore's Maestro, Jim Butcher's 12 Months, and Nicole Glover, Starseed. Between those 3 books, as well as all the other books that I have like on the shelf that I have to get into because I still have to get back into the Dark Tower series by Stephen King because I bought all of the books, the whole collection of that storyline, so that I can actually start reading it again because I actually read the Gunslinger book and the Drawing of 3 book, but those are the only 2 books from the series. I think it's a 7-book series that I actually read. So, and I know other people, like I had exes who was avid fans of like books. Like one of my exes got me into Lil K. Hamilton, both series, the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series and Meredith Gentry Fae series, which apparently I didn't realize they were still ongoing. I thought they were over, so now I actually have to go back and I'm more than likely probably going to buy both series of the Meredith Gentry and Anita Blake. I really like the Anita, which is so funny because I was more of a fan of the Anita Blake series before it became just a rampant orgy. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy orgies. Like, I got stories, but at the same time, like, when I go for a narrative in a book, like, I want to read that narrative in that book, and I feel like it was, I gotta go back because I don't want to say that the rest of the series was how can I say this? The rest of the series was equivalent to the last book that I read, but the last book I read, there was literally no plot. Like it was too. I mean, okay, I'm more than likely might be misremembering, but I just remember it just being two places. It was at her home or apartment with her like were rats and like her werewolf. And yeah, no, I don't think she was dating her werewolf at the time. I think they got a weird off and on relationship. They was together at first when they first started. Then she met up with the vampire lord dude, and that's when they started getting together. But that's when her and the werewolf boyfriend broke up. But then he came back because he was like, "I miss you, and I want you, and I can share." Like it was a wonderful story about deconstructing masculinity in a point of being like, you don't own that vagina, sir. Like, you cannot tell her she can't fuck who she wanna fuck. Like, let her fuck who she wanna fuck. She's happy fucking a vampire dude. Let her be happy. Like, it's not a it's not a slight to you to say that your werewolf dick isn't enough for her. She just don't want to eat fucking pasta ravioli every goddamn night when she knows she got some goddamn chalupas over there and shit chilling in fucking wigs. But it got to a point where she was collecting like a whole like menagerie of different people, from the vampires, the werewolves, the were-rats. Like, it was a whole smorgasbord, which was great because I actually enjoy a lot of the different characters they came, because they always had their own different personalities and their different like ideologies in life, and they all loved her. Like, they all banged with her, and she was like, she's a dope like character. I enjoyed Anita Blake, but I definitely. But okay, but the point was, it was like two scenes. It was like one, her in like an apartment with her were rats, and then her going to the vampire club of her boyfriend, and it was just, she woke up, had breakfast. I think she had sex in her apartment. Then she was like, up, had to go wash up again, and I had to go see my boyfriend, the vampire. Then she went to the vampire, and the vampire was up there having an orgy in her spot, in his spot, and then she jumped into the orgy in this spot, which was fine. It's cool, great, great read, but I wanted a plot. Like, I wanted to, like, the original, like, story plots used to be, she used to do stuff like exorcise ghosts and stuff like that. Like, she was an exorcist, and, she was fighting against, tyrannical other werewolves and stuff because she was, dating a werewolf dude. And, just like in a True Blood type scenario, alphas are alphas, and there always going to be somebody trying to challenge their alphaness. And then there was the other werewolves that loved the alpha. It was like, you're just a petty human and you don't deserve what she had to fight them. And it was a good series, good action, good plot line, but it just, that one book devolved into like a straight just sex fest, and I was just like, there's a time and a place, and I want to read sex scenes in these stories, but I want a story with these sex scenes. That's all I'm saying. So all I'm saying, I want to get back into the series because I do want to see how it ends, because I did enjoy that series a lot. And more so than not, I really enjoyed the Meredith Gentry series, the other series that Laura K. Hamilton did, because it was it was literally the same story, except for it dealt with the Fae. It dealt with the Seelie and Unseelie court, and it was really great. 122. It dealt with the Seelie and Unseelie court, the Fae, and it was really great because Meredith was apparently like a part of the Fae, and like so May basically was like, hey, I can't remember if she was Seelie or Unseelie. I think she was Unseelie. It was like the Unseelie are dying because the fact that it wasn't dying. Obviously, it wasn't dying, but it was basically like the next heir need to be had for the Unseelie court, and it was between Meredith and her cousin, was a sadistic piece of shit scumbag dude, and if he got the heir, then he would get the throne. If she created an heir, then she would get the throne, and her, heir, and yada yada yada. So, but she was living with the humans, and she was trying to live a human life, because I think she was like half fae, half human, half fae. So it got to the point where, because this new stipulation was put out there, basically she was surrounded by her guards, and her guards were also like her lovers, who was moving forward with helping to inseminate her, basically, so she could get pregnant. And the story was just, I loved it. I enjoyed it. I don't even remember why I stopped reading. I think I just got to a point where I just stopped reading at the moment. But like, I love those books. I think I think I just got oversaturated, because I was reading both of those series, and I was reading Anne Rice, The Vampire Chronicles, and I think that's what it was. I just had an overload. I just had an overload of just sex, because I think that was the same time I was reading the Ramad book, and like almost every chapter, and I'm not trying to like exaggerate, I feel like every chapter, maybe I'm misremembering again, but like I feel like almost every chapter was like Ahmad just being sodomized, and he wasn't even a vampire yet. He was like the slave, and he just kept, like, every chapter was him getting sodomized, like either with consent or without consent. It was just too much. It was a lot. I think that's honestly was when I stopped reading those, and I started jumping into the Jim Butcher Dresden Files, because it didn't even have sex in it. It was just a wizard in Chicago, and he a modern day wizard in Chicago, and he just was fighting everything that was in the other books: the vampires, the werewolves, the mages, the witches, the warlocks, yada yada yada, the fae. All of them was in the Jim Butcher books, and it was no sex in it. I think the only time he had sex was I want to say when him and his girlfriend, his daughter's mom, like, who was a newly turned vampire, like, which was great too, because I love how they did the vampires. They had the three different courts of vampires. It was the black court, the white court, and the red court. Black court was like the Nosferatu ones. The red court was the Bram Stoker's Dracula ones, and the white court were like the succubus, incubuses and succubus and stuff like that, which was dope, because you find out that his I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't read it, but it was great. I love how they do it. But anyway, yeah, like the red court was a thing where you can. It was kind of like it was like kind of like Dracula. Like, you could get bit, but you would be able to gain supernatural abilities. But if you didn't drink blood yet, you wouldn't fully turn. But it would also exhaust you if you were to use your abilities, before you like drunk blood or whatever like that. So she was still able to do some superhero stuff. Think Lana from Smallville after she started getting like kryptonite poisoning and was able to do like superpower stuff, which I still personally am annoyed with that. I was annoyed with that storyline, even though I understand it, because it was like, you got this actress here, you want to keep her around, but it's kind of no reason to keep her around. Like, she lived in Smallville, she was Clark's first crush. There's no reason to have her constantly being in Metropolis while, it ain't make sense. Like, it made sense for Chloe, because Chloe wanted to be in a newspaper, even though it was funny because she wasn't in a newspaper. She was just working at... Never mind. So, God, I should watch Smallville again. There's so many shows I actually I want to rewatch. Like, I want to go back and rewatch Xena again. I used to love Xena. Here's the thing. This is why I am the way I am when it comes down to women, and where I'm like, I respect women so much, and I think women sometimes are better when it comes down to certain situations than men. Because I was like, I used to watch Xena, I used to watch Cleopatra 25. I used to... Yo, first of all, I don't want to hear nobody hating on Cleopatra 25. That show was amazing. If you haven't watched it, look it up. It is definitely cheesy, but it was so good. It was so good. It had no right being as good as it was. It really did. It was amazing. But yeah, like, God, I miss Xena, man. Xena was my shit. I used to watch. That's the only reason I used to watch Cleopatra 25, because it used to come on right after Xena. So at first I would miss it, because as soon as Xena went off, I would just start doing whatever the fuck I was doing that day. But one day I think I was about to turn off the TV and I seen it come on, and I want to say I seen Lawrence Fishburne's wife first. And I remembered her from something else, and I was like, "What the hell? What is this? What is she in?" And that's when I started watching it. That's when I really just like fell for the characters. It was a really great show. Like, I can't remember the names of all the characters, but I just remember I enjoyed it. It was pleasant to watch. It was entertaining. It was really great. But yeah, oh, man. Like, I want to watch Xena again. Xena was so... And here's the funny thing about it. I could not stand Hercules. I hated that show. I thought that show was so stupid and corny. My thing was this. I always thought Kevin Sorbo was just, like, okay, maybe it was my own judgment from the Disney Hercules movie. And it was, like, granted... He had like toothpick legs, but like he had a big upper torso. Like, it made sense that this dude was like fighting gods and yada yada yada. Kevin Sorbo looked like a crackhead. Like, he like an average crackhead white dude, and it was just weird. And I was just like, this dude not. I don't see it. Now with Xena, I didn't care like about her shape or like that, even though she was built like she wasn't like a muscular build, but I was like, you don't have to be looking like a character from Shadow Skills, which if anybody never watched Shadow Skills was a great anime. But like, they were aggressively muscular. That's honestly where I got my my attraction for muscle mommies, honestly, came from Shadow Skills. Like, every time. It was so funny. But yeah, like she was like, I wouldn't say like Xena was like, what, 6 foot or 6'1" or something like that, and like Gabrielle was like 5'7", 5'6", but like it was as fantastical as that show was. It was believable to be like, yeah, no, she like in gods and goddesses and all this like chaos. Like, I could see her being this type of supernatural, spiritual warrior type thing with, supernatural superhero powers and shit. Like, plus that goddamn shuriken drone that she had was incredible. Like, it was like Captain America's shield. Like, now the thing about it. And because I was less of a fan of the Avengers, I was more of a fan of Zeta. Because I was like, I've seen how Captain America's shield bounces around in the comic books, and that's cool and all. But she got a blade with hers. Like, it's just a blade. Like, even though it never, like, I think it cut people at first, like when when the show first came on, but then they like dialed it down because they was like, no, it's just gonna knock people out now. Like, but it will still cut rope. It will still go through rope like butter, but everything else is going to be, it's going to be a blunt like thud. But God, Xena was such a good show. But yeah, and I mean, yeah, I was one of the people that had a crush on Callisto. Like, I can admit it. I'm not gonna act like I did. Oh man. But yeah, and I loved when Gabrielle actually became more of a badass and started using the bow staff. Because at my point, I was like, it's kind of getting to ridiculous territory that every episode she ended up being captured, and like Xena's not teaching her no fighting moves, like nothing. Like, or some like, yeah, maybe I get sick, maybe I'll be asleep, and you get captured. You can like use your pressure point technique on somebody to get away, something. But so yeah, I enjoyed when she got the haircut and got the bow staff. That was dope. God, it was such a great show. They used to do time travel and shit in that show. Like, they had Xena and Gabrielle in the present and had so funny because they had them in the present and had them like watching a show of themselves with their super fans. Such a great show. Oh God, I love this show. But yeah, I think I left the books alone for Meredith Gentry and like the Laurel K. Hamilton and because it was just too much sex going on, and I was just like, I was tired. I was so exhausted by it, which is so funny because my special interest is sex and sexuality. But even I was like, this is gratuitous, and I just I need to take a break. I need to pull back and read something a little bit more wholesome in a way. So that was actually funny. I chuckle every time I think about it because I'm like, yeah, wow, I got out-sexed by like 3 different books. And that was the thing about it, because I was supposed to be reading, after the Vampire Chronicles, I was actually going to read the Anne Rice Sleeping Beauty stories, which those were bangers. One of my exes, she read them, and she loved it, and I value her opinion about a lot of the books and stuff like that she used to read. But then it was one of my other friends who I work with who got me into the Hunger Games series, and God, I love. Yeah, I ran through all of those books. Cause she had them, she let me borrow all of them. So I was definitely wanting to make sure I read them and get it back to her, in the same condition she gave it to me. So I was like really like devouring the story and the narrative stuff like as much as I could, because I really wanted to actually just be able to like talk to her and find out the reasons why she liked the book and compare and contrast to see if it was the same reasons why I liked the book and the characters. And I mean, honestly, it was pretty similar altogether. But the Hunger Games was an amazing fucking book. And honestly, I feel like the movies did them justice. Like, all in all, I want to say, like, they changed, I think, like, maybe 1 or 2 things. But it wasn't like it was full-on narrative about everything that was in the book was pretty much in the movies. I think they just changed the one. I think it was more... it was more detailed about the creatures that was chasing them in the sewers in the third book and the third movie and the third book. It was like these creatures that was supposed to be chasing them. It was a longer like chase, if you will, and more frantic and more like blood pressure rising, if you will, in the book narrative than it was in the movie. But all in all, as somebody who read all the books and seen all the movies, I enjoyed them. Like, I didn't read the Harry Potter book, so I didn't know what people was talking about until I went in the deeper forums and they was talking about how, and I can't remember what book it was or which movie it was, but it was the one where they started off at the carnival in the beginning of the movie. Apparently, it was like 4 chapters or something. It was a longer discussion or description of the carnival than they did in the movie. The movie was like the first 10-15 minutes, I think, and yada yada yada. But yeah, like, which I know that sucks for those who enjoyed those books and wanted to see every nuance of those like chapters in detail being shown on the big screen. I totally understand that, but yeah, I was, as for the Hunger Games, like I was vehemently impressed. I enjoyed it all, but going off, regardless of the books and stuff, because I still, I don't even know how I got there, but I'm happy I did. But yeah, I enjoy talking about and experiencing the things that I like, and I don't want to be saturated with this purposeful narrative and indoctrination that society, culture, this government has been doing to us as American citizens. Like, they are constantly trying to manipulate us so that we're constantly stressed out and constantly on edge, to the point that we can't think for ourselves because we're too tired, because we have to constantly work to pay bills, or we're just so confused by misinformation because we got talking heads saying one thing on one station and another talking head saying another thing on another station, and neither of them are actually like 50% accurate about what the fuck happened. Like, to the point where I'm not sure if y'all are abreast on what happened in Mexico City. Apparently a shooter went up on like one of the pyramids and just started like shooting people. Like, I think they killed one person, they injured like 7, and then they like took themselves out. And I think he was like 27 or something like that. Like, that's what I mean, man. I'm like, it's so many lonely, hurt people. Like, I'm not saying if he had a friend or was able to find somebody to have sex with that he wouldn't have done that, but odds are he probably would have been in a content mode to not have done that if he had somebody in his life that he felt loved him and cared about him, or yada yada yada. Like, there's so many people out there that are suffering from situations like that, or just like, I don't want to use the Joker line, but at the same time, one bad day away from like destroying themselves or and other people's lives. And it could be averted. The narrative can change. We can be a light. We can be a hope. We can be something better for ourselves and for each other, so that we can change this type of dynamic in the world. Like, look at Gretchen Thorburn. Like, Gretchen Thorburn been doing this shit since she was like 14, and now she's like, this has been like a decade. I think she's like 26 now, which is crazy. Crazy. But like, I think she's like, she's in her 20s now. I think she's like 24, 26 or something like that. I'm not sure, but the fact that like she was constantly going to try to give the citizens of Gaza like resources and aid and stuff like that, and then she got captured and tortured with her people and like paraded around and like that's crazy, yo. Like, that's crazy. But the fact of the matter is, she's a good person. Like, she's a good individual. She's trying to constantly bring awareness of like the world is wrong, is broken, and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be changed, and we all can do better because we live on this earth, man. Like, this shit don't make no sense. Like, unless and until somebody come out and being like, oh no, we know how to terraform other planets, and we're going to be doing that within a 3 to 5 year window. Like, this is the only planet we got. Like, and it's so plentiful. Like, it literally, the ecosystem is perfectly constructed for us to be able to survive, to live, to flourish. And fucking, this shit is like, so many so-called people that know better are fucking ruining the world. Like, it's so funny because they're like simultaneously trying to live forever while they're also destroying the world that they fucking live on. And everybody else is like underfoot being like, that's not right, but I can't do nothing about it, when like we can. That's what I was going to say earlier. I was like, the dude was basically saying how he was told he was going to get arrested for using foul language, but he was like, if I did what I did, which was learn the law, learn my rights, yada yada, and I brought 199 other like individuals with me. He said men, but individual with me. Like, he could purposely like have those him and his other, like, including the 200 men, yada yada, him included, like, change the face of the people that are in city council or at city hall, because they are the people that should be represented by these council people at city hall. And if these 200 people are not happy with these 5 people that are on the fucking bench or like that, then those 200 people have the power to dictate, saying, no, y'all need to go, y'all need to be removed. And that's the thing about it. Like, our Congress people are one person being a representative for us, and if they're not representing us, then like, get them out. Like, hold them accountable. Like, do your research on their policies. Like, it's a public forum for us to understand and see what they voted for, what their positions are, who's like supporting them, who's giving them money, if they're taking any type of checks or any endorsements from different like companies and stuff like that. We have those instruments of like knowledge and like equipment to look this stuff up to see if the things that we align with is what they're representing. And if it's not, then we can change that. We can say, nah, like, I don't want you to fucking put any type of stipulations on my body or on women's bodies or you know what I mean? Like, women have the right to choose if they want to have an abortion or not. That's their body. It's their choice. Like, when it comes down to it, shit happens. Like, regardless of anything, pull-out method don't always work. Condoms don't always work. People get harassed and raped and SAE. Like, shit happens. Like, hell, you can choose to be like, yeah, I want to have a baby, and then be like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. And that's your choice. And it's nobody has the right to tell somebody else, nah, you pregnant, you just gotta deal with those consequences. While we have shitbox in the office who literally have so many cases against him about. Oh, sorry, I'm watching some. He was an older man. He tried to push the cart into the cart rack, and it veered away from the way it started going towards somebody else's truck. Sorry, but like shitbox literally got so many cases and like cases about him essaying a whole bunch of women. The Epstein files talking about all the stuff that he was involved with. Literally, Epstein and them talking shit about him, talking about how he's the most horrible person they ever met, which is saying a lot coming from Epstein. God damn. But regardless, like, it's redundant to be able to be like, anybody that got genitals trying to tell somebody that don't have genitals like what they can do with their body. Just the same way, vice versa, nobody without a penis should be telling a person with a penis how they should be living their life. That, like, point blank period. Like, it's all redundant. Like, at this point, like, it's all ridiculous and redundant. Like, it's oat milk and almond milk argument all over again. Because, I mean, when it comes down to it, unless you actually was born a man and then decide to change and take your penis away and, you know, get it sliced and, you know, filling removed and then tucked in and get a penis, I want to say a penis mold that goes inside to hold the shape of your new vagina inside of your body, so that it can form and mold and heal the right way, so now that you can have any instead of an outie, if you will. Then, like, nobody can really tell nobody from the opposite sex what it means to be like a dude or a woman. Like, which comes down to it, the closest that we could get is to the point of that one woman who sadly deleted herself after she went undercover to be a man, to appear as a man, and was literally like, it was so lonely, it was so sad, it was so, and it's a lot of different now trans men who now are understanding the experiences of men who was biologically born men, and understanding how rough it is for biological men that was born men, and they can appreciate men even more now, even though they're not like saying, like, you know, they're not saying all men anymore, like, which I appreciate. Once again, why I was saying in the last episode how I was like, I appreciate the LGBTQ community, because they do have a outside looking in but inside looking out perspective when it comes down to all of these different topics and conversations, because when it comes down to it, they have suffered and dealt with so many different atrocities that so many different cultures and creeds and individuals have suffered and dealt with. Like, when it came down to it, like, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them had to deal with family members and friends ostracizing them because of the fact that they chose to be honest about who they are and was like, yo, this is what I like and this is what I'm attracted to, and people wanted to choose to try to control them and be like, well, I wasn't raised that way and I blah blah blah, so you can't do this either, and that don't make sense. That don't make sense whatsoever. That's why I never, here's the thing with it, with any of this topic of conversation, none of it never made sense to me. Even when people try to bring up talking points to me when it comes down to my beliefs and my understandings. Because even when I talk about this stuff where it's very briefly, where I talk about abortion or I talk about any of these topics with friends or family, because it really has no effect on my life whatsoever, honestly. Like, my daughter's mom, she had an abortion, and it was because of the fact that she was suffering from complications in her pregnancy. And we had a long talk about it. I told her flat out, hey, this is your body. I support you in what you want to do. I can't really tell you, I can tell you how I feel about it, but I can't tell you what you need to do. And she decided, and I supported her in that decision, because point blank period, the way I felt about it was the same. I took the evidence of what the doctor told us. The doctor told us she was either going to have 3 different situations that could possibly happen. Either she can have the baby, and our baby would more than likely perish if she did, or if the baby didn't perish, it would live through complications their whole life. Or the second one was she could probably perish, but the baby will still be alive. And the third option was they can both more than likely perish because of complications. My thing was this: at the time, I loved and adored her, and I didn't want her to transition. Selfish reasons, of course, because I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want to lose her, but also because of the fact that she's also a mom. And I didn't want our kids to suffer from losing their mom. Little did I know, 4 5 years later, that was going to happen anyway. But once again, I didn't know that that was a journey that she was going to be on, in that moment at a time. But that's life, and that's what happens. Life ends. But sometimes they come back. But yeah, like, it was just one of those things where I don't talk about that stuff, but when people start bringing up narratives of saying stuff like, well, I remember this, actually. I was having a conversation with somebody that was in my blood family, and we were talking about, abortion and stuff like that, because I think we was talking about, this was before Trump went back into office. This was before, this is when him and Kamala was actually running against each other, and his argument was the whole abortion thing, and I was like, so what is your problem with it? He's like, because they shouldn't be doing it. I was like, why shouldn't they? He's like, well, what if your daughter had it? I was like, and if she did, that would be her choice. How? First of all, hopefully, and that was my reasoning, I was like, hopefully, when it comes down to it, when my daughter is old enough to understand the situation about what sex is, which, because I would be giving her that knowledge of saying, this is what sex is, this is how to protect yourself, this is how to say no. Consent is first and foremost key to everything. You giving it and you receiving it, regardless of anything else. Full stop if you don't. And then, move forward from that. But regardless, whenever the situation would have came into play for her to engage in coitus, then I will hope that I gave her enough knowledge and enough support to have her be knowledgeable enough to know how to handle the situation and what like that. And if she felt in line with the fact that, oops, all berries, she ended up getting pregnant because the condom broke, or they didn't use condoms and he didn't pull out, or he thought he pulled out, it wasn't quick enough, or whatever happens, the smorgasbord of different ways that pregnancies happen, yeah, I would support her and say, yeah, either you want to keep it or you want to have an abortion, I support you. Like, this is what I want to do. Kick her out the house because she's pregnant, or kick her out the house because she want to get an abortion because she's pregnant? That's stupid. Like, she already feeling some type of way because of the fact that the situation is a brand new situation that she's going to be experiencing and dealing with. You know, God forbid, fingers crossed that never happens that way. But if it did, yeah, going off scenarios like that, creating what ifs like that, like, it more likely shows your character than it does the actual scenario that you're creating, because who gives a fuck? Like, it's not all I can do as her parent is give her the tools and the knowledge and power to embolden herself to make the best decisions for herself. Not the best decisions for me. Not the best decisions for some other Yahoo. No, the best decisions for her. And like, hopefully, when the situation gets into a factor where me and my daughter are back in each other's lives, that yeah, that's where I can go and start to tutor her and teach her and guide her and raise her in a way of understanding all the things that I've been talking about in this podcast, especially in this episode, basically. Like, just to be able to, like, have the wherewithal and the self-confidence in herself to know that whatever decision she wants to make, that she understands both sides of the decision, as well as knowing that confidently this is what she wants to do. Even if she doesn't get it 100% of saying, like, I 100% understand this is what I want to do, at least be above 50%, be it at least to like the 60-75 range of being like, alright, I'm pretty much certain that this is where I want to be at with it. Because realistically, life throw curveballs all the goddamn time. Who knew? None of us. Here's the thing: when we was watching, well, I wasn't, because I never watched The Apprentice. But like when people was watching The Apprentice, nobody was like, shitbox was going to be president one day, let alone twice. Like, the fuck? So life throw curveballs. But the thing is, understanding who you are as an individual, so you can make the best play, the best move, so that when the curveballs do come, you can at least kind of like move with the curve. You can, you know what I mean? You can still make sure you got some footing, you know, on this like topsy-turvy ground that we on. But yeah, like, the shit when it comes down to people trying to tell people how they should live and what they should do, it's always been weird to me. Because it's like, why you care? The same thing with the whole, like, and I can't really say just the Republicans. It's like anybody who has any issues with the LGBTQ community. Like, why are you thinking about other people having sex? Like, that shit, it's so weird to me. Like, here's the thing. As much as I enjoy the books that I was reading, even though I got completely oversaturated at that point, I still enjoy those books. I enjoy watching porn. I enjoy sex, period. I enjoy having communication, conversation, and discourse about sex and sexual topics and stuff like that. However, I'm not thinking about anybody else having sex when I'm not having sex. If I'm not reading a book about distinct characters having sex, I'm not going to constantly be thinking about these characters when I'm not reading a book having sex. That's not what I'm doing. Just the same way, I'm not thinking about anybody, and regardless, hear me out here, I'm not thinking about anybody in my family, out of my family, or out of this world having sex. Now, when it comes to myself, I will constantly say, if aliens come to Earth, I am, just call me Jack Shepard. Just call me Commander Shepard. Listen, I will go boldly into that deep night to figure out if our body genetics are compatible to having coitus with each other. I will take that plunge. However, until that day comes, I'm not going to be sitting every day thinking about it like, I wonder what that alien pussy do. Like, Like, that's what I'm saying. As weird as that sounds, thinking about what what an alien mouth do, like, I don't understand how people are so fucking enthralled about what same-sex couples are doing. Why you care? Like, we all know you want to be involved in it. You want to see it. You want to be a part of it. You want to engage in stuff that they're engaging with, but you're just too scared to do it yourself. Because once again, like I keep saying, all those people that keep saying that sexuality is a choice just means that you're just choosing to be with the other opposite sex, which means that you really want to be with the same sex. You're just choosing to be with the opposite. That's all it is. So that's, once again, more of a play on you and your ideologies than it is on the subject that you're talking about. Because if you want to do it, do it. I mean, hell, one of the favorite lines from one of my favorite movies, Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, if it makes you feel good, do it. Like, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. So, like, enjoy yourself. We have this timeline that we're in. Do the things that make you happy. All I'm saying is, just be kind about it. Just be kind about it. Now, if you want to be like the Joker, you keep your ass over there, or go somewhere in the woods. Like, go, not in the Canada woods, because that's where I'm going. Don't go to Canada woods, because I want to go to Canada woods. I mean, Canada woods is huge, but I don't want to come across you in the Canada woods. Go and like, go to Amazon. Go to Amazon rainforest. There you go. There's a whole, you can do a whole thing of the trying to survive, the indigenous people that live out there, the cannibals that live out there, and you can fight for your life out there. There you go. You can be a man versus civilized man versus the indigenous man, or whatever you want to call it, and see what happens. But yeah, man, like, this shit don't make sense. Shit don't make sense. It never did. And this whole argument of like homosexuality, yada yada yada. Because that's another thing about it. It always made me like scrunch my face up when I would hear all these different people that had problems with the LGBTQ community. One of their first instincts and their first argument points would always go to this extreme thing about like dogs and like animals and stuff. And then it started to make sense to me that this is why they were saying that, because they were doing it. Like I keep saying, I didn't realize that so many women were doing things with dogs until it became such a topic of like conversation from like 3 different cultures. From the Asian culture, where they was doing it in their comic books or their hentai books, white culture, when they was doing it in their porns and stuff, and mainly horse porn. Still can't find enough soap for my eyes for that. Oh my god. And then that one ex I had that told me that she used to let her dog lick her pussy. So it's like, it's so many people that are doing bestiality out there, which is crazy to me. I didn't even realize it was so prevalent. But stand to reason. It's something else that all the stuff lined up for me that it was like, wow, I didn't. Now it makes more sense now. And that is, I understand now, or at least I have an idea of an understanding now of why women feel as though men talk to each other about despicable things. And this comes from my own personal experience of being around women my whole life. Like, from my mom, my aunt, their friends, my older cousins, their friends, my platonic friends and non-platonic friends, women friends that I was around, like even like younger cousins and stuff like that, and their friends that I was around. When women, not all women, but the majority of women, and this is what I experienced myself, when a majority of women are really, really comfortable with each other, they share everything. They just talk and they share everything. They say everything. Hell, even from TV shows that I watch where it basically deals with women, like the Sex and the Cities and the I Love LA's and, you know, yada, yada, yada. But, like, they share everything. The most despicable, fucked up shit that you could think of to the most glorious, peaceful, lovey-dovey shit that you could think of. They share everything. For some reason, I believe that women believe that men talk like they do. Like, when we get behind closed doors, like, we say the most despicable, disgusting, like if Dexter, well, we know people are like Dexter in real life, but from the show Dexter, if you take that analogy of Dexter wasn't sharing his dark passenger secret with every dude. Like, he wasn't with like the Asian dude and the Spanish dude and being like, yeah guys, I went and I killed another serial killer last night. Like that's literally the whole, every season of the show, even the newest like remake of that show, it's still the same ploy. Like, he's not telling anybody that he's a serial killer, even though I've literally heard other women literally say, oh no, this person didn't do this to me, I just said he did, and yada yada yada. Or they'll literally say, no, I slashed his tires and blah blah blah, or I pissed in his, his gas tank, or I put period blood in his food or something like that. Like, they'll literally feel comfortable enough with their other friends, and sometimes me if I was there, saying this shit. Hence why I always felt like the Frasier Crane thing. I'm not sure if anybody watched Frasier, but it was always a thing where Frasier had his producer in the on his show. They got together later on, but before, when they first started the show, they were just friends because it was one of those things. They knew their bodies were buried. Like, it's kind of hard to try to get into a serious relationship where you know how people were dealing in relationships in their past, and the shitty things that they did as well as the shitty things they experienced. So it's kind of being like, I know the shitty things that you would do. I know the capacity of shitty things you could do. I don't want to be a part of that. Like, that's how it is. So, but regardless, it was one of those things, like, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like a lot of women see the same patterns that they do and conflate that to say this is what women do also. And it's like, I can assure you, I don't know anything, which is so funny because I have heard other women say this topic as well. A lot of comedians talk about this. I'm not sure how many other women do, but a lot of comedians talk where they be like, us as men, we don't know shit about our male friends. Like, we literally be like, hey, it was a comedian who was like, oh yeah, like, when's your friend's birthday? Like, uh-oh. Like, haven't you known them for 15 years? Yeah. And you don't know what his birthday is? Nah. It was like, what do you know about him? Well, he got a PlayStation, I got a PlayStation, we play video games together, when we when we're free. That's all you know. Yeah. I mean, he liked the same beer I like. we like generally like now for me, I am Troy, and I never complete myself to say I am in the category. I just say I'm Troy. That's my title. That's my name. That's who I am. Yada yada yada. But I do try to delve deeper and talk to different people about who they are, stuff like that, to try to learn them, stuff like that. However, just because I try to learn people don't mean they want me to know everything about them. Like, I had a best friend who literally, he was in the hospital, and I had no clue he was in the hospital. Literally, one of our other mutual friends, we was all chilling, smoking, having beers, stuff like that, and the other friend mentioned he was in the hospital, and he was like, "No, yeah, we ain't gonna talk about it." I'm like, "He was in the hospital?" He's like, "Yeah, I was in the hospital." I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, "Yeah, for like 3 days." I ain't know shit. He didn't tell me shit, and he just left it at that. At the like when that was the end of the conversation. So I do have this like feeling, and I could be wrong, but I feel like because women do share and talk and tell each other all the grimy, fucked up shit that they do and they're capable of doing to each other, that they also feel that men do the same thing. Even though, ironically enough, both sides of the aisle know that men and women, we aren't the same, we don't talk the same, and we don't communicate the same. Because if we did, there would be less fucking debates about who's at fault, when really it's just two individuals trying to figure out themselves and figure out each other. Like, we say so much and none of it is important enough to be valid to understanding each other. It's so much that's being said that is not being said, that we don't understand each other. And it's not that hard. It's just the fact that we haven't been taught how to yet. Like, a lot of people do have great relationships, and a lot of those relationships, those people are just quiet because the fact that, and not quiet with each other, but quiet to the public, because it's like, they know what works for them in their relationships, and what works for them works. It don't mean that they need to bring anybody outside opinions into their life to say like this works or this don't work, yada yada yada. So that's why, like I said before, or I mentioned before, bad news travels quicker than good. So it's not like the loving relationships that they make breakfast for each other or make dinner with each other, and they like in the kitchen side by side, you know, cooking and cleaning and laughing and joking, or have any time to go out into the world and be like, yeah, guys, this is the things that's going to make your relationship great. It's just the people that have more time on their hands that's in relationships with people that they don't want to be with, or they're not in relationships at all. They just have the free time to actually do what the fuck they want to do. Luckily, I'm in neither camp. I'm just enjoying the freedom of just being by myself and enjoying the things I like. And once again, like I said, if I find a connection of people, platonic or non-platonic, that have mutual things that they also like that I like, then cool, we can all hang out and do shit. But until then, I'm enjoying this solitude as much as possible for as long as possible, because I'm just enjoying the quiet. Oh, the quiet, the sereneness of the quiet is so beautiful. It reminds me when I was in the void. I can't wait for that again. But regardless, it's just so noisy here. It is so loud and so bright that it's just like, if I could just like find the quiet, which is so funny because I want to go to the woods, but at the same time, I've been looking up so much stuff about cryptics and stuff that I'm like, I want to be in the quiet sereneness, but I know if I go in the woods and it gets completely quiet and still, I gotta go. I can't. I can't. I can't just be there and just be like, oh, it's quiet now. Let me just enjoy it. No, because now something's coming for me. Because all the fucking animals in the woods know to shut the fuck up and get low or get into the corner because they don't want to be attacked by a cryptid. But more like that cryptid coming from me. So it's like, yeah, it's fucked. But regardless, this is this has been a fun episode for me. I hope you also enjoyed it. It is now 2:17. I am literally heading to get my food and get back inside before the rain starts because it's almost 3 o'clock. Hopefully it doesn't start before. But y'all have a great day. Y'all have a great week. And I hope y'all enjoy yourselves. And stay safe. Alright, guys. This has been a Troyiverse production.